Hey, what's up? This video is going to be recapping some of the highlights from the Troy game and then giving my reaction to Saturday's matchup of Nebraska versus Troy. So let's get into it. Okay, so I've got a little cut-up video of kind of the highlights and things I wanted to point out for this Nebraska-Troy game. So let's just go ahead and start it. This punt, okay, their punter kicks this ball from the 10-yard line and it goes out the back of the end zone. He kicked this over 100 yards. Insane punt. Kicks it out of the back of the end zone. That's a crazy punt.
Last week, this one's good for 79 yards. Offensive sequence of the day. Bunch to throw. Shimmies.
See, and this is the difference between a backup quarterback and having Martinez. Martinez might make this play.
Last week, this one's good for 79.
It hurt a lot to not have Martinez. If you see this play, Martinez makes that guy miss. So instead of a 12-yard loss or whatever, that could have been a big gain. That was the pass that was just lost on the sideline, and Troy gets it. The mistakes biting Nebraska again. On that one, Bunch actually did a good job of reading what he needed to do, and then he just missed the throw on the sideline, forced it into traffic instead of just throwing it away, and it was a turnover. It was 3rd down and 5, so he really had to try and make something happen here, but given the field position, it's better to just throw the ball away than to force it. We could have punted this ball down to the 15-yard line and lived to fight another day, but Bunch does a good job here. And then kind of forces it, and it gets picked.
Intercepted by Tyler Murray. Caleb Lightbourne will hit it.
This is the play that Troy returns it to the house, and this was a big momentum swing in the game. This was a dagger that really made Troy feel like we can win this game and really kind of hurt Nebraska's confidence.
This one high.
Okay, so look when he catches this ball. Let me get my pen out here. We got this guy coming free, this guy coming free, this guy coming free, this guy coming free, and this guy has his blocker's not even looking at him. So this guy can contain, this guy can contain, this guy can try to make the play. We've got a lane, and a lane. And Troy has no blockers. I mean, this guy's a blocker, but he's not even, like, turning around to block somebody yet. Like, there's just no excuse for this. None. This is just poor play. I mean, this is what you want a punt coverage to look like. You've got everything set up, and this is just their return man being better than your coverage team. Like, there's just no way that this should ever happen in this situation. Makes him miss. He even got slowed down. I mean, now this is even better for Nebraska. You got 3 guys right here coming free. This is so inexcusable. Another bad angle, bad angle. This was actually a pretty good angle, but he just didn't have the leverage to make anything happen there. So that play was that was brutal for Nebraska. This one, we get beat here. Okay, so on this play, when you're the defensive end, you have to do a better job of staying home because you at least have this guy on the inside to come up if they need to, and then you have this guy here to stop the running back. You know, you've got to do a better job as the defensive end because they're reading you. So if you get beat for free, it's going to be a big play. And that's why these plays are so popular is because you read this defender. If they crash down, you keep it. If they stay home, you hand it off and you've got a lane. But our defensive end dives down way too hard, and then the quarterback just keeps it. See, look how he gets sucked down by the running back motion, and he's nowhere near the quarterback. Can't even slow him down. So that's an easy decision. And a big play. And props to that quarterback. He actually had some wheels. I like 24's effort there to bring him down. This, we just we have guys there, we just don't make a play. Like, that play's got to be made. And that play's got to be made. This was a really good throw by Bunch. It wasn't all bad for Bunch. He did make some plays. This Maurice Washington kid's going to be good. He had a couple big plays for Nebraska. Bunch really stares down the receiver for a long time before he throws, and that's kind of something he's going to have to develop if he's going to be playing significant time for Nebraska. He just looks at one location and then throws it. You got to be more active with your eyes and look off defenders and stuff. That's what good quarterbacks do. If you'll notice, he just stares where he's going to throw it. But nonetheless, it was a good throw, good play. This was a big break for Nebraska. That's huge. That's exactly what Nebraska needed to get back in this game. They only got a field goal out of that, and if you want to be a good team, when the other team muffs a punt on what was that, like the 7 or 8 yard line, you got to score. Like, you got to, if you want to be a great team, you have to punch that in. You can't get 3 there. You just can't. And Nebraska, gets 3 points. This poor tackling. I mean, look at that tackling. It was so much worse this week.
Temperatures in the 90s. Nebraska taking over. Maurice Washington, full sprint.
I'm going to talk about this a little bit. So we're running the ball here, and this is what happens when they don't fear the pass. They don't fear Bunch. This is our line of scrimmage. That line isn't quite straight, but the line of scrimmage is right here. We've just handed the ball off, and they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people at the line of scrimmage. Right when we're handing it off, they've got 7 people at the line of scrimmage. Actually, I think I'm missing one. I think this is 8. They've got 8 people at the line of scrimmage. You're not going to be able to run the ball against this. I don't care how good your offensive line is. Like, we have to get defenses to back off of us. If we can't, we're not going to win football games. We just can't be running against 8 people at the line of scrimmage. It's like a goal line set. So in this situation, if we see this, we need to be audibling to a post route to Stanley Morgan. Like, we can't let defenses just sit here and do this to us. And that's the result. I mean, look how many guys they have here. 1, 2, 3, 4. They have 4 guys in the backfield.
Turf really get hot. Nearing the top of the hour now with college football on BTN. Andrew Bunch pressured in the backfield.
And then just another mistake there. This was actually a good play. Spielman. We need more of those. Like, we need more quick hits. With J.D. Spielman, Stanley Morgan, Tyjon Lindsey, Maurice Washington, we've got guys who can be electric and make people miss in space. We need to be running more things like that. Just quick hits on the perimeter and let a guy make a play.
Touchdown, Huskers. Looking for a leading score. Bunch.
This is just a ball that's misthrown, and this is the kind of things that happen when you've got a backup in. This ball needs to be right here, and it's more like right here. It's just that little bit off, and it leads to a turnover.
Well protected, throws high, it's intercepted.
And that was basically the plays of note here, so I'm going to now go into the reaction part of the video. Okay, so here I've got the box score kind of pulled up for the Troy versus Nebraska game. And I'm just going to kind of go over the things of note. One thing I wanted to also mention really quick is a play I didn't show on there that was huge for Nebraska or huge against Nebraska was number 7, Barry, getting kicked out of the game. And it's just things that we can't have happen. Their guy is laying face down on the ground. the play's over, and he just like goes shoulder first into the back of his helmet and gets ejected. It's just these lapses in football IQ just keep plaguing this team. And we also had Andrew Bunch. He was rolling left to the sideline, and he just runs out of bounds for a loss. It was a pass play. He just runs out of bounds for like a 4-yard loss. He could have easily just flipped the ball 5 yards forward and went back to the line of scrimmage, but instead he just like willingly runs out of bounds for a 4-yard loss. It's just the football IQ of this team is really hurting them at times, and all these little things add up. But yeah, to dive into the numbers here, we see the passing game was so much more inefficient this week. 19 for 27, 6.6 average, and a 36 QBR. Last week it was like 60-something for the QBR. And what that leads to is Nebraska's average rush dropping to 3.9. It was a lot higher last week. It was almost double. So in that play I pointed out, when they aren't respecting the pass at all and they're just cramming 8 guys by the line of scrimmage, that's what that does. It leads to the offensive line not being able to block everybody. It leads to no holes being there for the running game. And it leads to our rushing game being about half as effective. That's what that causes when you have a backup quarterback in the game that the defense isn't scared of. That's what it causes. And Nebraska last week had a huge advantage against Colorado in the rushing game. And then against Troy, they had a disadvantage, 3.9 to 4.2. So the defense did decently well against the quarterback. Caleb Barker for Troy only threw for 110 yards and an average of 5.2, QBR 46. That's going to be good enough to win games. In the passing game, if we can defend like that, that's good enough to win. In my preview for the Nebraska versus Troy game, I said that I didn't expect Troy to set the world on fire throwing the ball. I thought we would do fine in the passing game. Again, that's not why Nebraska lost. Nebraska lost because they didn't have a passing game or a quarterback threat that the defense had to respect, and they had football IQ problems and kind of made some silly mistakes and bad plays again. They gave up a special teams touchdown. Again, it was kind of the self-inflicted wounds and the lack of a threat in the passing game and at quarterback that ultimately cost Nebraska this game. So against Colorado, I felt like the better team didn't win. I felt like Nebraska really should have won that game. For the Troy game, I kind of feel like the better team won, unfortunately. It didn't seem like Nebraska really deserved to win this game. Against Colorado, it did. I mean, there was like the obvious things that decided the game, and it really felt like, obviously Nebraska should have won this game. Against Troy, it didn't really feel like that. And I think A.J. Martinez is that important to this team. Andrew Bunch, God bless him. I listened to his press conference. He's a good kid. It's nothing against him personally. He's just not the same quarterback Adrian Martinez is. And I think Adrian Martinez is worth about 10 points to the outcome of Nebraska's games. So ultimately, the coaching staff probably made the right decision. We haven't even hit conference play yet. The goals for this team are still out there. I know it seems bleak right now, but if they can reschedule an opponent to replace the Akron game, and if they can win a game or two they weren't necessarily supposed to, like beat Michigan State or something, it seems bleak, but the outcome of making a bowl game is still out there. Wisconsin didn't look near as good as we thought they were going to be. They lost to BYU, so the possibilities of Nebraska springing an upset are out there. Michigan State doesn't look as good as we thought they were going to be. Michigan doesn't look as good as they thought we were going to be. So 5 or 6 wins is still out there for this team, but they've got to get A.J. Martinez healthy, and they've got to keep him healthy, and they've got to correct these lapses in football IQ, these bonehead plays, and just awful mistakes that are costing this team. So, yeah. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video wrapping up Troy at Nebraska. Here in a couple days, I'm going to be previewing Nebraska's next game, Nebraska versus Michigan, and kind of let you know how I expect it to go and talk about the spread and what the proper bet would be in that one. So I'll release that in a couple days. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.